Welcome back, everyone. I'm Zell, and today all we need is this to take these knives apart. Actually, guys, I lied to you a little bit. You might need two of them, but they both better be T8, and they both better be good drivers. Why do they need to be good drivers? Because we has went to titanium torque screws. How do I know they're titanium? Well, I took them out earlier, and I weighed them, and there's not a lot of difference in weight whenever we're talking about things of this size, so I had to weigh them in carats. But there is a weight difference. I couldn't even get the titanium screws to register on my scale. I could get the stainless steel screws to register up to about 2 carats. So they are titanium. You know, the anodization kind of let the cat out of the bag, but I just wanted to be sure. And why is that important? Well, because I'm pretty sure that WE is making their own screws. Whether they're doing it in a mill or a screw machine, I don't know. If they're doing it the way they did the Star screws, it has its own milling station to make the screws. And they do that because in their various knives, they have some odd length and odd screws. So buying them off the shelf is just not really an option. So what is important about them making their screws? Well, that's what I want to show you. Well, let's look at the prototype Balaenoptera, and these are the screws that I'm pretty sure we picked up off the shelf. I have seen this before. Getting the WE logo on there is not hard. So general knife parts here you pick up at knifekits.com or Jant Supply or wherever. So let's stick our T8 down in there. Now watch the weehaw. Alright, so that was a little loose, but maybe it was just that screw. So we're going to go to the lock bar screw. Watch the weehaw. Oh, it gets worse. And we'll do 2 more just so you guys know I'm not picking specific screws. Alright, now let's pick up one with WE's new titanium ones. And go there first. That's it. That's all the movement you got. Lock bar. That's it. Right there. That's it. Right there. That's it. So, very tight tolerances on their screws. And that is awesome for all of us. If there was one caveat I could have, so I'm still going to be a whiny about it, but they could have been just a tad bit deeper, but as tight as they are, it doesn't upset me. Now, if you're going to buy one of these knives or any other future knife from WE that is carrying these titanium torque screws, make sure you're using drivers that are in good repair, because it would be a tragedy to mess up the finish on these screws or to tear up your junk driver even worse. And what I mean by that is if you've got a driver that is rounded over at the tip, where if you actually put torque on it, it's just going to jump no matter what, just don't stick it in these screws. They are too nice and drivers are too cheap. Well, maybe not the driver, but the bits and the inexpensive drivers are just too cheap. So spend the extra $3 or $4 and get you a new bit for your driver and take care of those screws. So what has changed on the knives? Well, it's just the screws. That's it. Every other part of these knives that we talked about in the prototype videos is the same. Very good ergonomics on the Balaenoptera. No matter how you got a hold of it, it's there for you. And it does still have a slightly less aggressive version of the crosshatch pattern, or the WE logo pattern, if you will. And it does still have the light jumping across the top. I would like something a little more aggressive, but you guys' thumbs don't look like that either, most of you anyhow. And it still has a bit of a recurved blade. And it's got a very, very tall hollow grind on that recurved blade, which makes it a very, very nice knife for slicing and it's pretty thin behind the edge compared to many of the Wii knives. It definitely does not have that hatchet type thing. And I've got some paper over here. It's been cut all to heck, but, you know, it cuts nicely. And it should, with a proper sharpening, make just a killer slicer. It does have that recurve, though. Be aware of that. With the Sea Monster, this is our prototype Sea Monster. It's still got the star screws in it. There hasn't been much of any change to the outside of the knife. There's another black one. All we did was change to the torque screws. It got a bit of a color change. And I like the one with the torque screws in it. I actually kind of like the one with the star screws too. But our blade here is all belly. Very nice all belly blade. It is a saber grind, so it is a bit short. It's not going to be a superb slicer. Now, will it still cut paper and stuff? You betcha. You know, we've talked a little about this before, and people always want to start arguments, so I don't talk about it too much. But with a proper sharpening, just about any blade can cut well. Some just cut better than others. It's all a geometry, big geometry problem, you know, that nobody wants to do. But it's going to do its job well. It is all belly, though. Be aware of that. And it does have that Sea Monster look all the way down the spine of this knife. We've got little bumps and ridges, and none of them seem to get you in a bad place, or they don't for me anyhow. I actually like the ridges up here. It gives you something to push your thumb against. I like that they've got that finger choil, even though it could be just a smidge bigger. For most people, it's probably going to be just fine. And the actions, guys, holy goodness. We just continues to dial these actions in. And they just get better and better and better. And, you know, whenever you don't think they can get any better, well, they get better again. And that's kind of it. We're M390 on both blades. They have chosen to put M390 in super small letters on the flipper tab on the Sea Monster. And see if we can even get this one to focus. Yeah, there we go. Super small letters there on the Balaenoptera. And guys, they're just good, solid knives. You know, it's Wii as usual. Ceramic detents, ceramic ball bearings with nice, thick, hardened stainless steel bushings behind the bearings, and lock bar inserts. We're going to put them in the pocket real quick, and then we're going to be done with this. I'll talk about the star screw thing in another video. Let me clear these knives, and we'll get the jeans up here. There's our Levi's, and here's a Balaenoptera. Now I'm going to scoot the mic in here. I'm going to point it down right at the pocket. Now I'm going to shut up. That was my ring, guys. So yes, over time this is going to be a pocket eater. It's not nearly as bad as the Blitz, and it's not nearly as bad as some of the more aggressive cold steels, some of the more aggressive Peel Ply G10, but it's still fairly aggressive. As Nick Shabazz would say, it is definitely Vaseline Factory approved. Now, it's not the #1 approved. That would be the Blitz, but this one is definitely, you know, in the lower part of the top 10 for approved at the Vaseline Factory. So let's get to the Sea Monster. And there we go. There is the Sea Monster down in the pocket. And I really love how this thing rides in the pocket. It's got that hook that pushes it back. And I love that pocket clip. Let's see if we can get a better look at that. It's just, I don't know, it's just very appealing to me. I like the lines of this knife. I would like to go back for myself, and I know a lot of you guys are going to like that full belly blade. I would like to go back myself and redesign this blade, give myself just a little bit of flat, and this thing would be a super duper utility knife. and with all that style. And that's what this thing is about, really, guys, is style. Now, ergonomics on this guy are good whenever you've got it in these grips. This is not a knife that is going to, it's not designed blade-wise to do a draw cut very well, and it's not designed handle-wise for it. You're going to get your hand in this right here, and it's just not going to be super comfortable. Your reverse grip is, it's okay. You got that little bit of a point there that might get you, but you know, of course, if you really need to get it in this grip, who cares? But again, with that trailing edge blade, not really designed for this. So your standard grips, your pinch grips, all of those are going to be good, and you've got that forward finger choil to get down there nice and tight. And you do have a fairly nice tip, fairly thick tip there, but sharpened, of course, down to a nice point that will be good for those little detail tasks. Very well designed, but it is, like I said, let me get the mic set back there, very much a stylized blade, and you need to be aware of the implications of that, the way that blade is designed, because it's not going to be for everybody. However, I will say this: if you've never stepped out of the comfort zone of your standard kind of drop pointy blade, you can learn to use just about anything. I happen to be a huge fan of the modified Wharncliffe. Why? I just like it. I learned how to use them with the Kershaw Leak. They call it a drop point. I call it a modified Wharncliffe. And ever since I learned how to use that blade, I really like them. However, I don't limit myself. I'll use, this is another modified Wharncliffe of sorts, sheep-footish thing. And I love these style blades. But I'll still use a drop point or a spear point. You really, over time, you get to this point where you just learn how to use just about anything. So stepping out of your comfort zone is not always a bad thing. Now, do evaluate whether one of these is going to be right for you, whether it be the slight recurve with the big whale belly at the front end, or the full belly knife, before you go and pick them up. But if you like the look of the knife, don't discount them because of blade shape. Learn how to use all those blade shapes out there. And guys, that's where we're going to cut these. Right here at the end of the video, I'm going to put up the pause and read cards for both of these knives, and all of the information on those pause and read cards is valid. Nothing really changed with the knives. Even the weights didn't really change. So everything is good there, and you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.